The Pasha Behukotai ends the book of Vayikra, and it is mainly concerned with the expression tochacha, rebuke, which is going to come again in the later books of the Torah. And essentially, tochacha goes like this. If you follow the commandments of God, everything in the physical world will be fine, the rains will come at the right time, and you will be fruitful, and you will do well. But if you disregard the blessing, the commandments of God, you will have a terribly difficult time. Everything will go wrong. You will suffer. Life will be hell on earth. There are two problems with this. Problem number one is that we don't see this happen. We don't see that good people always benefit and bad people always suffer. And of course, the most obvious challenge to these ideas are what happened in the Holocaust, but throughout Jewish history, when good spiritual people and their families have suffered terribly. Good great rabbis have been tortured to death. And so we are bound to ask, what does this mean, particularly if bad people seem to succeed? And, of course, the Gemara is concerned with this issue, and in the Masechet Berachot, there are all kinds of questions about why does this happen? Is it because you're a good person but not a completely good person? Is it because you're a good person, the son of a bad person? There are all kinds of different reasons given. And in the end, there is the famous answer of Rabbi Yitzchak in Pirkei Avot, which says, Ein bi'adenu, we simply can't explain. Lo mishalvat rushaim, neither why bad people are left in peace, nor miyusurei tzadikim, nor why good people suffer terribly. And that's the most honest answer. But people keep on trying to give other answers. They'll say things like, well, you know, so many people died in the Holocaust because Jews were assimilating. In which case one is bound to answer, well, how come most of those who were murdered were people who were actually religious? And most of those people who were not religious moved off in different directions to be fruitful and multiply and carry on, so that today most people in the world are not religious who are Jewish. It doesn't make logical sense. And people try to answer that. Oh, look at all the miracles that are performed by rebbes and rabbis. Doesn't that prove something? And the answer is no, it doesn't, because for every miracle you've heard of somebody getting better, there's another one of somebody who dies, and the bracha or the help didn't work. Another explanation is that the Torah is talking about the nation. The nation, when it comes together, thrives and succeeds. When the nation doesn't come together and fights with itself, it comes to a sticky end, and there's probably more truth in that than in the idea of personal reward and punishment. So then what do we mean by this idea of schar and onesh, that people are rewarded for keeping the Torah and punished if they don't? Again, one answer from Pirkei Avot is that schar mitzvah mitzvah, the reward of doing a good deed, is that you enjoy that deed and you do another good deed. And the punishment for doing a bad deed is you continue in the path of negativity, of abandonment, of selfishness. And then, of course, there's the answer that reward and punishment isn't in this world altogether, it's on a spiritual level. And if it's on a spiritual level, then doing the right thing is its own reward, because that is what your relationship with God demands of you and expects of you. And there are those people who say that reward and punishment is more a concept than an actual practical law as such. It's an idea that we have to examine. But over and above this idea of having to examine, there is the other issue, that there are some of us who are more thoughtful, intellectual. There are some of us who are more simple. And one is not better than the other. There is what we call emunah pshuta, simple faith. And for the simple person, that person needs to know that there's a God there and there's something to look forward to, and there is somebody who one can use to help one cope with life. For the more rational person, that person tends to think more in terms of doing things for their own reward, for what those actions are, rather than for any goodies that will come at the end. And so the Torah includes something for everybody, a message for everybody, and an explanation for everybody. I don't perform mitzvot because I'm frightened of being punished. I do them because they are what God wants of me, and because I find them valuable and they make me live. And if I'm rewarded, fine, and if I'm punished, I'll deal with that. My aim in life is to cope. Mitzvot help me cope. God helps me cope, regardless of whether there's a reward or not.